Thank you for joining me. This is part 2. This is the question and answer and the top 5 YouTube content creator tips at the end of this video. Thanks for watching part 1 of our massive garage tour. I was originally going to do this as one video and I didn't realize how much content I'd actually filmed until I got in the editing process and realized that it was all up well over an hour and a half, and that was just way too much, too long of a video to put up. Even as is, I think the garage tour one was 55 minutes or something. That's horrendously long video, but I really looked back at it and I couldn't really see where to cut stuff out because, I mean, yeah, I wanted to have a really full deep dive. I want to show you everything. You're more than welcome to skip through it, but yeah, this is part 2. Right, so wrapping up this video with a bit of Q&A. Got some questions here on, just on that I've picked up from people that send me messages on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and some of the comments in some of the videos that are commented at. So first one is, what happened to Project REDLINE? So if you haven't seen the video for some reason, we sold Project REDLINE just before-ish the major lockdown sort of happened, or around about just after June, I think. Can't remember when it was now. Maybe it was earlier even than that now. It seems so long ago. But REDLINE, yeah, it would have been great to have multiple race cars, but I can only race one car at one point in time. So I needed to focus on other cars that we have and really just have one race or one drag racing car, so to speak. So we have something else in the build, something you'll see in 2021, but that meant because of the really hard lockdowns that we had,
and get on the beers,
and quite honestly the diabolical state that Heathcote Park Raceway is in, and the non-state that Calder Park Raceway is in, we just didn't believe we'd ever get a chance to race it. And quite honestly, if we'd raced the car at Heathcote at any meets that had been open in the very recent future, we wouldn't have run a time because the track's just been terrible. It's been useless. So yes, it might be open and people are like, oh, it's been great that it's been open, but it's had quite a few meets there in 2020 and each one have just been useless. So biggest part about that is, yeah, hopefully, yeah, we move forward with Lance now buying it, and onwards and upwards to that, and you know, Heathcote can get back to some of the glory stuff from when I knew it, when I was in my early 20s, and you know, everyone from around the country come and raced, and especially the sport compact group scene, which is what I'm loved most. It was very strong at Heathcote. It was almost the surrogate sister of all these other racetracks where all the sport compact racing happened. A lot of it happened at Heathcote. There was a lot of events there. So hopefully we can get back to something like that in 2020. But yeah, Project REDLINE's gone because it would have just sat here for an entire year without being touched, which, you know, I didn't want this. I don't have the space. As you can see, this garage, I don't have the space for that. So that's pretty much that old Project REDLINE. We've repurposed some of the stuff we can keep around for future projects or whatever. But yeah, it got sold to someone else in Melbourne, so I'm sure at some point they may race it and you still might see it anyway. So next is, do I still work for fullBOOST? So I don't work so much for fullBOOST, so to say, so I don't get paid by fullBOOST. I do content creation just because I like doing it, and I help them out with some of the marketing stuff and sponsorship stuff and around that. However, I'm not an employee of fullBOOST or whatever, so the main reason I haven't been on any videos sort of this year is we're building something for 2021.
I want an Oompa Loompa now! Can it, you nit!
And yeah, I mainly do tech videos and content creation for project cars or whatever, and because we haven't been able to bring a project car or race another project car, and we haven't been doing that many tech videos or whatever on fullBOOST anymore, I've been doing them more on this channel. That's why you wouldn't have seen me there, but you'll definitely see plenty of me on fullBOOST on 2021, that's for sure, when a couple of new projects come out on that. So yes, still doing work with the guys from fullBOOST without a doubt, and will do for many years to come, but unfortunately circumstances with not being able to get to racetracks and not being able to race my car meant haven't been on much stuff on the channel in the last 9 months or whatever. So next one's, what's happening with the F350? So some people who watched the video that I posted up just the last video on looking for a new car to buy to replace the VF picked up a hint sort of where I said there's going to be an announcement with the F350, something's going to be happening with it probably, and learned people sort of in the comments sort of picked up and said, why are you looking to buy a car that can tow 3.5 ton, i.e. a race car trailer type of spec, if you've got the F350? And the simple answer to that is, I more than likely will not have the F350 going forward.
No! God, please, no! No!
So it was a great project at the time. We took it on. I was really excited by it. I've spent a long time building that truck. It is basically gone through the best part of a full resto, except for cosmetic things like some of, maybe some of the dash and the seats and that. But everything on that car mechanically has been redone. Everything, all nuts and bolts and hidden wiring and all the paint and you name it. So we produced a lot of content from it. That's the aim of, what we do on YouTube. A lot of, you look at a lot of YouTubers and stuff and you'll find that cars come in and out of their YouTube life very regularly. It's not often that the cars just sort of stay around for years and years. So we at Project REDLINE for the best part of almost 5 years. But yeah, the F350, I've just driven it a few times, and when you're at a racetrack all day and you're in the sun and you're beating down on you and you've been racing yourself and you're going through the data yourself, like I said, I don't really have a pit crew to change the oil and do this and do that or whatever. I don't have people I'm paying to go and do all this kind of stuff for me. If I'm doing it all, it's very strenuous. You come to the end of the day and you've got a 2.5 hour drive home, or even worse, you're from sitting at 8 hour drive home. You just want to relax. And while the F350 drives okay, it doesn't have the blastingly cold air conditioner that a really late model car will have. It doesn't have the adaptive cruise control and all this kind of stuff that new cars do, and all the creature comforts that come along with it. So it's, yeah, I'm probably going to remove all the good bits that we got from suppliers. So things like all our Raceworks hose and fittings and that, Dishworks pump and surge tank, the Fuel Tech ECU and all of that wiring and all the injectors and that. I'm going to take that stuff off and save it for another project more than likely, put a carby on it and just sell it as is. The market with the COVID tax for these things has absolutely skyrocketed at the moment, so I'm not sure what I'm going to advertise it for, but I've spent a hell of a lot of time on this truck. I've spent a lot of my own money, let me tell you that much. We've spent a lot of my own cash has been invested in this thing to get it to the state that it's at. So I'm not sure. Going by what other trucks are out there, it's probably going to be somewhere advertised for somewhere in the mid-20s, I'd say, which is probably about right for a D-rated F350 that you can tow a truck with, that you can tow anything with on the back of it. You can drive on your car license, which is, you don't have to go through the engineers to do that, and the full rest of it's been through. I think somewhere around there is where we'll start the pricing at it, and I think that's about right from where the market is for these things. So yeah, moving right along. All right, so it's a story with the F350. Next, what we got here, what other projects do you have coming? Well, unfortunately, I can't tell you what other projects we have coming. What? But there's always stuff in the pipeline, the build and that. So the biggest part is obviously building them and then racing them. So hopefully 2021, early 2021, we'll see the launch of a new build, and then sometime in Q2 in 2021 we can start actually racing that as well. So yeah, that'll be a long-term sort of project, a pretty big build. I'm also on the lookout for something in the terms of like a fun little 80s or 90s little hot hatch sort of thing. So I just realised the other day that I've never owned a four-cylinder. So I've owned 12A, 13B rotaries. I've owned naturally aspirated V8s or whatever. I've owned sixes, naturally aspirated turbo sixes and whatnot, but I've never actually owned a four-cylinder. So I wouldn't mind really, back in the days when the Sierra was king, the little Australian cousin to the Sierra was almost like the Laser bubbleback TX3 four-wheel drive gear. I always really loved those cars. So I know there's people who watch fullBOOST now and like really get the shits with the fact that Geordie owns a Yaris now, and they can't handle the fact that, you know, people don't just drive big moody V8s and all that kind of stuff.
This is a HQ Monaro going across the Nullarbor. You and your pissy pss.
And it's like, well, a lot of those people have probably never been in hot hatches before and just seen how spirited you can sort of drive them through hills and twisties and that. And obviously I live up here now near the foot of bloody Mount Dandenong and that, and you know, an old HQ Cruiser just would not be as much fun as sort of that little like KF or whatever it is, bubbleback laser up in this area for what I sort of want it for. So I've always loved that car. It's a bit of a bit of one of those ones sort of up there with, you know, RX4 Coupe, EX, XE, ESP. I love those cars as well, but I've got a bit of a soft spot for that bubbleback laser as well. So they're probably getting really, really expensive and really rare these days too. So if you do see one out there, I'm not the type of person that will drive 3 states away to get a car. I'm not that into driving to getting projects and that, but if someone's got one in Melbourne or the greater Victorian area, hey, let me know, and I'm probably keen to look at it sometime in 2021 for sure. So projects, yes, they'll definitely be. If you guys want to see it, we might do a bit of a behind the scenes, you know, a month or 2 months after a full boost episode comes out. I might do a bit of a how I did that sort of thing with a much longer form video of how we went about doing something like that. So if that's something you want to see, pop it down in the comments below, and we can work on something like that for this channel going forward. Next, another standard smartass. I didn't know Fred Durst worked on cars. So yes, I've got the Fred Durst hat on backwards. The reason for that is because when I wear a hat for to keep hair out of your eyes and stuff like that, because I had very long hair during COVID. Like a lot of us did, but when you're welding, all the dust and all the stuff and grinding and that, it all gets around and it gets in your hair, and like the little sparks and burn your hair and it stinks or whatever. So if I wear a hat, it solves that problem. But also if I'm grinding in that, and if I'm doing stuff overhead, if I have my hat on like this, you bump into stuff. So, you know, your spatial awareness when you got glasses on isn't great. So you just pop the hat on backwards and that solves both those problems. So yes, Fred Durst is here to stay because I've very commonly mostly worn a hat for many years now, especially when I'm fabbing stuff, and I'll keep on wearing it. So yeah, that's part and parcel of what I do out here. Next one, build an AU. I don't know what the fascination with AU Falcons is in Australia, but mainly it may be from people who are not old enough to have seen the AU when it was new or driven them, but they are piles of crap. The AU Falcon, the Intech engine's okay, but everything else around it's just junk. So they're ugly, they're crap, and there's no chance. I'm just not building one. So yeah, it may be popular. That car is popular because it's a meme, essentially. It's not popular because it's a good car. There's a reason that, I mean, that car essentially pretty much sent Ford to the wall. Yeah, the Australian public voted with their feet and their wallets, and they didn't buy that car, that's for sure. So it went for many years, but plagued with problems. And there's, yeah, if someone's out there building an AU, more power to them. It's just not a very nice car. It's not something I'm interested in, that's for sure. So why would you bother when you've got the mighty Barra in the BA anyway? So yeah, BF, and that's a much better car than the AU ever will be. Next question, when are you racing again next? $1 million question. So at the moment, if I was to go to a racetrack, I'd have to race Fred Flintstone style because I don't have a running race car. Hopefully, I'd say by maybe late Q1 2021. Really excited to get back to Heathcote Park Raceway. Congratulations, Lance, for buying that, because it's been a sad state of affairs out there for the last few years. He seems to have already put the groundwork in for a lot of events to be going ahead in starting late Feb all the way to mid-April. I think there's a fair few events. There's Holden Nats, there's a Rotary event that someone's planning, which looks like it could be really exciting. So it's great to get back to those. I remember Rotor Revival and 4-6 Rotor Nats and all that kind of stuff out at Heathcote. So it'd be great to get something back out there in that sort of sport complex sort of area. I'm sure Jamboree will be very interested to see what happens in that space, but Calder, who knows? It's always a bit of secret squirrel, very secretive stuff that happens at Calder Park. No one really comes out and says anything that's ever going on there. Not like at Sydney and Willowbank, where they're great communication to their races. Calder's always a bit nothing. You don't really hear anything. It's owned by one company, and then the event is put on by someone else, and you know it's hard to find out what's going on there. Rumours that it's early March or something, or late Feb or something, racing be going on. Who knows? Whatever. That'd be great if it's there. I'll be there too, because I always support the track, but just don't know. So we'll see. But yeah, dying to get out there, that's for sure. Last couple here is, are you going to do YouTube full time? The resounding answer to that will be definitely no. The reason that I would say that is because in order to do that, I'd need to put out a video probably every single week. And it's very hard to put out a video by yourself. So you have a look at the other people in other YouTubers that might be doing it full time, and that, say like, well, if Luke's putting it out, he's filming other people. And then he might be editing himself, but for fullBOOST, so he's filming other people, or Geordie might even be helping filming him as well. I'm here, I'm one person. So have a look at some of the other automotive guys out there even. You've got like Skid Factory, so you've got two people there, essentially working, one filming, one working, then one doing editing and that, which means you've got half the amount of workload. Mighty Car Mods have, you know, they have both themselves, then they have someone filming, and then they also have other professionals doing a lot of work on camera for them. So they've got, you know, they've got a lot of people to spread the load. Benny's Custom Works has someone filming as well while he's doing the work. And this is the biggest thing about building, like doing project cars and stuff. Like doing videos like this, one person is fine. But when you're building a project car and you're one person with one camera, it is incredibly hard to do. People should try and give it a go to try and build a car by yourself while you're filming it yourself. It is not easy. We filmed some of the stuff with Luke, but if I was doing a YouTube channel by myself, I'd be doing it all myself. So no, I'll put out content when I can and what I want, but there's no pressure also to get stuff out because it's not my meal ticket. So the answer to that would be no for the time being, definitely. But yeah, you can help that by subscribing and sharing on social media, and the more we grow, the more videos I'll actually be enthused to put out. So I'll end on a comment I see on a lot of, not just my videos, a lot of people's videos, people who are professional welders or professional fabricators or professional mechanics, and they're criticizing people's work. All I've got to say to anyone who's watching out there who's thinking of giving welding a go, or building a car themselves a go, or even doing it on YouTube, do it, because the people out there who leave negative comments are complete losers. They'll never say it to your face in person. They'll do everything they can to bring you down because it just makes them feel better and about themselves. And I actually really feel sorry for these people, because they've obviously probably got a few issues upstairs that they need to, you know, degrade other people to make themselves feel better. So really feel sorry for those people out there who leave the negative comments. You know, hope you get to a better space in your life in the future, that you're actually comfortable of just seeing other people do work and shutting your mouth or moving on, or actually offering some constructive criticism. I really like it when people say that's not the right way to do that, maybe have a look at doing that. That's great. Someone just leaving a comment going, "You're welding crap." Oh, congratulations, mate. You're a fabricator, are you? Well, of course you are. You know, there's that many aviation mechanics out there who'll tell you how to wire this or hose that or whatever and that. If you're doing this full time and you're comparing yourself to myself, it's not really a fair comparison. Go and compare yourself against people using the hashtag weld porn, and is your work as good as that? Maybe it isn't, but you know what? Who cares if it isn't? I built Project REDLINE myself in the garage. It ran 940s, 147 mile an hour, didn't fall apart, nothing broke on it, never had an electrical problem, never had a fuel system problem, had zero problems mechanically. Built that engine, tuned it, wired it, hosed, fabricated, done everything. So nothing got farmed out, and it was rock solid reliable. So for what I do, I'm quite happy with the work I'm doing. I'm going to keep on doing it that way. If people don't like it, so be it. But yeah, they're the people with the problem, not me. So yeah, just stay positive, people. If you want to give it a go, just do it. Post your link to all your videos that you put in below. Happy to watch all that. And just know one thing, the haters, they definitely don't have any YouTube videos because they're cowards basically, and they would never put themselves out on a pedestal to show what they've done because they pay other people to get their own cars worked on because, well, they've probably got no other skills anyway. So other than typing comments on the internet and going to their day job where they get beaten down by their boss, and that's probably why they have to get on the comments on YouTube so they can make themselves feel a bit better because their life's just a little bit shit. So with that, I'd say thanks for all the support over 2020. It's been a really trying year, but we've gotten through it to some point. So really looking forward to a big 2021 because one thing that I've missed is being at the racetracks, not just racing myself, but being at the racetracks and that because just like being around racing type of people and that. So I'm not someone who likes being in crowds of random sort of people. No, if I'm at race meets, I'm there with racers and they're going to talk racing and that's what I like talking. So really, really looking forward to seeing you at a racetrack in the future. And yeah, until then, I'll see you hopefully sometime at a racetrack, Heathcote, Sydney, Willowbank, wherever it is. I'll see you and I'll watch all your videos on YouTube too. So link them down in the comments and yeah, I'll see you then. Happy New Year. All right, so congratulations if you've made it this far into the video. Post credits, you might remember earlier on this video I said stay tuned to the end and I'll give you my tips on maybe if you're starting out in YouTube, you want some tips, or maybe you're already making content and you're just looking for some hints and tips on people who've been doing it a while. Well done. Here are my 5 tips for how to make slightly, just to tweak your content a little bit. So the first is audio. Second tip is audio. So the number one frustrating thing for me when I watch people whose content might be actually good is that their audio is terrible, absolutely terrible. So right now I'm using a Rode Wireless Go. It's only $400. It includes the lapel mic, wireless receiver, adapters and all that kind of stuff, so you can use it with your smartphone, which brings me to the same point there, is that audio is so much more important than an expensive DSLR camera or even a GoPro. GoPro's $600 or something, $700. Everyone has a smartphone. Wireless Go, Rode Wireless Go with their lapel mic for $400, and your smartphone is much, much better value and you'll get much better video content out of it than a DSLR camera or a GoPro with their internal mics. Trust me on that one. So what does my audio sound like now without the mic? Not so good, is it? All right, so tip 1 and 2 are audio, and yes, they are that important that I'm taking out my 5 tips with 2 of exactly the same thing. Tip number 3 is B-roll. So right now you're looking at me talking on camera. The last thing you really want to do to keep people engaged is just to talk at them ad nauseum non-stop like this. Hello, welcome to my video. Today we're going to do this. That is boring as batshit. I'm guilty of it sometimes. However, if you just interlace B-roll, which is this, what you're watching right now is B-roll. It's just secondary footage that you can overlay over the top of a talking head. If you go back and watch your footage and every 30 seconds you don't have something interesting to change up this talking head moment here, flag it and just put in some B-roll there at some point in time. It will really keep your content a bit more fresh and a bit more lively rather than just sitting there for 4 or 5 or 10 minutes straight just talking at the camera. You want to keep the people entertained and you want to make sure that their interest is sparked every 30 seconds. Otherwise, you know, you'll lose them to their smartphones and they'll watch something else. So B-roll is number 3. All right, so tip number 4 is thumbnail and title, especially thumbnail. So I have some pretty awful thumbnails at times and cringeworthy, but they also get people that won't normally watch my videos clicking on them. And if you're looking to get people to watch your content, well, guess what? First, they actually need to click on that video. How do you get to do that? How do you stand out amongst the pack? Well, it's your thumbnail and it's your title. So yes, your tags and your description of that might help it show up in some kind of YouTube algorithm, but if your thumbnails are really vague or you can't tell it what it is and there's 4 other videos there being recommended by YouTube that have great thumbnails, guess what? No one is clicking on your video. So thumbnail, title, if they're just an afterthought after you've recorded the video and you're rushing to get the video online because you're excited what the video is and, you know, keen to put it up to let everyone see it and you just throw up anything for a thumbnail or whatever, that's really going to hurt your content. So the automatic thumbnail that YouTube throws up is often can be unrelated to your content or whatever. So just spent some time really developing the thumbnail and also researching what that title should be so it's relevant to the video, so people also don't complain that it's clickbait or something or unrelated to the video. But having said that, for new creators, some clickbait is probably going to be inevitable on the platform in order to get people to watch your videos. So don't get concerned about people cracking the sads over something that was clickbaity or whatever. If you actually deliver on that, what your title is inside the video, then that's fine. If they think they've been clickbaited into clicking on it, well, then so be it. But, you know, definitely concentrate on your thumbnails, because you need people clicking on that video first for them to actually start watching it. All right, and the 5th point is lighting. So as you can see here, it's still late afternoon. Our natural lighting is starting to disappear, but if I want to film over here, you can see it's actually quite washed out. Over here there's a lot more light, so it's brighter. You can see at the back there it's quite a bit brighter, but over here it's quite dark, which is why a bit of light on the situation will really help you film stuff. So if I want to film this as B-roll before, you can see there it's quite dark and it doesn't really present very well. Even just some lighting now really helps that stand out a bit more. So lights that are variable, you know, these are just automotive lights for working with DeWalt sort of thing. So this is another one. So all of a sudden now you can actually see over there. You can tone it down a bit, but if it's off, yeah, you can see it just starts getting a bit dark and a bit shadowy and that. So decent lighting is the number 5 tip that will really help make sure that the people who are watching, so you know, you want them to listen and you want them to watch. So audio 1 and 2 is very important, so they actually listen to what you're actually saying. But number 5 there is lighting, because you want them to see what you're showing them as well. All right, so that wasn't really fair. I had audio as number 1 and 2 of the top 5 tips. So the 5th tip is work out who you're making your content for. So you're making it for yourself and you're very happy that when you look at YouTube, you've got 1 view on your video, which is just you watching it, or do you actually want to reach an audience? And working out that is very important, because the content you make just for yourself may be very different from the content you actually have to make to reach an audience. Now, my tip here for up and coming YouTubers would be to develop a small circle of people who may be other YouTubers, or maybe people who comment and watch every single video that you do put out, and actually show them the unlisted video maybe a day or 2 days before it goes live, in order for you to then get feedback from them on how they perceive the video. So you may look at a video and go, geez, this is great, I love it, I'm really interested in this, and they may watch it and go, you know what, that 3-minute mark where you just started rambling on for about 3 minutes and 4 minutes about something, you really lost me. I didn't really want to watch the rest of the video, but I did because I like your content. But that's some really direct feedback that you probably need to hear as a content creator early on, and not just early on, maybe, you know, we need to hear it too from time to time, because sometimes we can just keep on going on and speaking too much. I'm definitely guilty of that, of talking way too much. Which means Luke has a hard time editing the footage sometimes, because you can get, the old Rambletron 5000, just keep on going on and on. But yeah, my 5th and final sort of tip is, probably build an inner circle of people you can trust, and maybe show them your content early. And if they say, oh, yes or no to this, then you can just basically look to revamp that video before it goes live. And same with the thumbnails and the title too. Get their opinion and see what they think about, and if they would click on it, give them a couple of options and which one they would choose. Because more than likely, if you're getting a resounding response from, say, you've got 5 people in your circle and all 5 are saying the same thing, well, guess what? You know, if those 5 people are saying the same thing, every single person that's watching your video is probably thinking the same thing as well. So that would be my 5th and final tip. They sound really basic and really straightforward and that, but yeah, it's just some tips that I know when I first started out and I was just using a camera with no external mic at all, it sounded awful, and I was so unhappy with how it sounded. I just stopped recording any of the videos, and I didn't launch anything and didn't do anything, because I just didn't want to spend any more money on any of the stuff. But smartphones are so good these days that I would definitely not recommend going headfirst and getting in a GoPro or a DSLR or Mega Zoom or whatever type of camera. Don't get a purpose-built camera, invest in audio and use your smartphone instead, and the results will be 10 times better, trust me, than using the audio built into those devices. So, all right, and that's the official end of the video now. So with those tips, hope to see your content grow in 2021. We grow together. Until then, I'll see you later.